I'd like to show you a trimming trick that I often use when I'm making hats for a show. You don't need to do your trim this way unless you really want to, because you aren't going to have a costume designer tell you, oh, I love it, I just wish it was slightly different. But this is something that I first learned it from the milliner at the Huntington Theater in Boston, and it's something I've used ever since, and most recently it was super helpful to me when we did Nicholas Nickleby, which is when we did it, it was 2 shows split over 2 nights, 6 hours worth of theater, and it takes place over like 20 years. There's hundreds of characters, and there's even a scene that takes place in a millinery shop. So we needed to find literally like 100 bonnets and trim them all out different ways. Now, of course, we couldn't make all of those, so we borrowed them from every place that had bonnets that weren't horrible, and even some places that had some kind of horrible bonnets. And so I have a bonnet here with some fall trimming on it. So I'm gonna walk around it. You can see there's quite a bit of autumn leaves and vintage ribbons and so forth on this little bonnet. And Jen Chambers was the designer on this, and so she basically just picked colors for each bonnet that we needed to trim out and just was like, make it look great. So this is actually a little bonnet that I own, and what I did was let me put it out here, take one of our Nickleby trim frames and just pin it on there. So what we wound up doing was making these buckram bases in a shape that fit on the brim of the bonnet in question. And then we would trim that out so that we could quickly whip stitch it or sometimes safety pin it onto the bonnet that we've rented. And then when the show is over, we take it off very easily because we have so many that we had to process. Now this trick has also worked for me when you make a hat, and let's say that you have like a spray of feathers over here, and the designer sees it in tech and sees how it's blocked and realizes that actually she loves the spray of feathers and flowers, but she wishes they were over here. And you can just pick that base up and move it in one process instead of having to take all of these different individual pieces of trim off and sew them all back on. So that can be a real time saver for you in millinery production when you have a lot of hats that you have to get on stage, or you have hats that you think the design of the trim might change location during tech.